Do you think there was anything that you felt you were prepared for better because of your experience in animation prior to getting into
Definitely.
games?
If you've like, when you work at a studio, sometimes, or if you even work at a big tech company, a lot of people who are in administration or management, they throw terms around like agile and waterfall and blah blah blah, and these are all just like terms for basically how are we going to prioritize work and get that work done and pass work between different people. And so animation and movie making tends to use something called the waterfall method, where one department splits up the work and does it, and then passes to another, passes to another, passes to another. So it's going downstream like a waterfall. Video games tended to be a bit more chaotic, where like designs, they try something and then it doesn't work, they have to pass it back to art has to re-art it, stuff like that. But because movies are almost inherently, they are inherently linear, right? You're watching something at the beginning all the way to the end. They work very well in a waterfall format in production as well, because you're waterfalling the movie. You watch it as a waterfall, you make it as a waterfall. And so a lot of those efficiencies from learning how to pass creative material between person to person was applicable in making games more efficient. So that was kind of why I got brought on to begin with.
That's really incredible. I remember when I was in school learning about game production and game design. I don't think I learned about production methodologies until like maybe towards the end of my graduate program, but it's really helpful. And I'm sure people now are way more familiar with them than when we were kids. But um,
Yeah.
did you know that being a video game developer or working in animation was a job you could have as a kid, or was that something that you learned when you got older?
I learned about it in high school, and I lucked out because there was actually a program in my town at my school that had produced a number of graduates that went on to work at Pixar, went on to work at DreamWorks. And so um, I researched like how to get into that school, applied to that school, and that is where I ended up going.
Oh, that's awesome. And were your parents like, were they like, yeah, she's doing STEM stuff, or were they like, we don't understand what this is?
Little column A, little column B. They were like, let's see the paycheck.
Yep, yep. I think my family is still like, we don't know what you do, but you have health insurance, right? And like, I'm like, yeah, I have an actual job.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I was curious. You mentioned that you had an inspiration with in your early years for telling stories. And at what point did you move from sort of the technical aspect of game development more on the narrative side?
Mm. That was relatively recent. It was actually during the pandemic where, like many other people, I had a mental crisis. Um,
Yeah, it was
as we
hard.
all experience a massive traumatic event. And I was like, man, I feel um, like the aspect of working in technical side of gaming that I loved is being able to create stuff that could help other people. Like, I love working with my teammates and I love being able to talk to the engineers, get things done. And this has been very helpful as well, even in my narrative design career. But damn, I don't like programming.
Personally, I think it sucks, but I mean, there are people who love it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's other people who like, I can't write a story for shit. Like, we're all good at different things.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I wanted to have a career that kept growing, I needed to pick an avenue that was something I was more passionate about, I was passionate about getting better at doing. Like, I reached a point where I could uh like sustain myself as a programmer. But like, I saw those people who were passionate about development, who really loved like learning new programming languages, who loved coming up with like new architectures, and I was like, damn, they're just going to really succeed because they're in it to win it. Like, they just love this from an internal motivation standpoint. And I'm like, if I want to succeed, I have to find something that aligns with my core in the same kind of way. And I'm like, what would 12-year-old me would have done? Well, 12-year-old me went to the library a lot. And so it was kind of like, okay, got all these technical skills now. How am I going to use all of those to pivot into something that I'm more passionate about?
Wow.